Hey, it's Ian. Today I'm going to be sharing several stories with you that will change your tennis and your life. They're stories from tennis players just like you who love the game and are working hard to play their best day in and day out. Unfortunately, along the way they ran into struggles with something all players deal with, all the way on up to professional levels, and that is mental demons. What are mental demons? Frustrating gremlins that wreak havoc on your ability to play effectively during competition. Things like self-doubt, anxiety, tightness, and choking, just to name a few. Even if you think your mental game is totally under control, the stories you're about to hear are vital to your long-term enjoyment and performance on the court, because no players are immune to mental demons, and left unchecked, they can make you crazy with frustration. Pay close attention to what you're about to hear and see, because I want you to know the warning signs that signify a larger problem may be around the corner. Several of the players you're about to hear from endured literally decades of torment and even contemplated quitting the game altogether before finally turning things around. One of them is Alan, who lives in the French Channel Islands.
In practice, I can absolutely pepper the baseline of the ball machine, but when I get to play my game on court, I can be playing really great, having my opponent all around the court, but I don't win the games because I end up playing what I call a nothing game, and it's gone, and then I end up getting really angry with the frustration. What I call a nothing game is the unforced errors just come out of nowhere. I've been playing with a really good form, everything's going sweetly, and then almost completely unexplained, I just hit so many unforced errors. It's 3 to 5 years where I probably almost didn't win a set. I may have kind of felt I had my opponent running all around the court, but I never won a set. My friend said to me, "But you give yourself such a hard time." But I said, if you could see in practice how well you're hitting the ball, better than you've ever, yet you come on court and then you make so many unforced errors out of nowhere. I said, you'd be frustrated too. And I have to say, normally I'm not a person who uses bad language here. I'm pretty calm like that. But I have to say, the air wasn't very nice around me, with the stuff I was coming out with. It's so frustrated. It was just like a negative snowball. It just got bigger and bigger. And I just get so frustrated.
Like Alan, our next player performed amazing in practice, only to become a completely different player during matches. Olivier lives near Paris, and his mental demons were triggered by distractions and playing pushers.
So I was looking not that bad during the training sessions, but in matches it was just awful. I mean, from a scale to on my capability to play tennis at that time, if I could play a 9 or 10 in trainings, I was probably going down to 2, sometimes 1 in matches. When you lose against players that you should beat because you have a better tennis than what they could show you that day, it is really frustrating, especially if you have folks from your club who are there watching you and really not understanding why you are suddenly playing so badly. I was looking for anything to escape, and instead of escaping quickly, it meant that the match could last 3 hours just because I was just not able to win it correctly. And instead of go quickly, I was like staying and staying on the court, and at the end you never know whether you are going to win or lose.
Olivier even experienced losing a shot completely during match competition.
In this match, I lost confidence in my backhand in the first game in just one ball, and it happened like this. Not good. And then you say, it is so mediocre, why am I trying to play tennis again? Should I change sport or should I pursue?
Next, we'll check in with Francisco, who lives in Mexico and was a professional highlight player for 8 years. After retiring, he found tennis to be the perfect athletic outlet for him, but unfortunately, he ran into mental demons even while just practicing with friends.
But he was once 1,200 or something like that in the world. And the first time I started hitting with him, I knew I could hit with him, but my hand would shake. It was just unreal. Why can I perform so good at highlight and not in this? I already have the technique down. I already have all this stuff. Whenever I would be very, very scared and shaky, I would go and like, what's wrong? Am I doing my 5 bounces? Am I fidgeting? Am I doing my rituals? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? And the funny thing is that it happened to me in highlight and it happened to me in tennis. The more I thought about it, the worse it was. It was just unreal.
Our next player had his mental demons latch on during a childhood tournament, and they stuck with him for over 30 years. Sean is a scientist who lives in Australia, and this is how he describes his experience.
I can clearly remember my very, very first tournament I played. I was so nervous about competing and about playing in front of my parents and playing in front of my coach and playing in front of all these other people. And would I be able to play as good as them, and would I be able to live up to those expectations? So it's been a chain around my neck for many years, and just so much nerves. The nerves about hitting the ball in, nerves about winning points and games, and obviously nerves about winning the match. So it was really deeply ingrained, and it always followed me. It followed me for 3 decades. You know, I could see the skills and I could see the technique improving on the practice court, and I could see being able to execute the drills and being able to swing freely, etc. And then when I go into the competition court, all that would go somewhere else. It just wouldn't be there. The old vice grip would come onto the tennis racket handle. The arm would just feel like lead. The feet would feel like stiff tree trunks. You know, just really difficult to move and to breathe and to swing. And we all know that you cannot hit a tennis ball in an effective way if you are so tight.
Lastly, we hear from Gary, who lives in Florida and also started playing tennis as a teenager. To begin with, he played purely for the enjoyment of it, but then things changed completely.
I enjoyed the game. It was just a lot of fun. I enjoyed being on the court. I enjoyed competing. So then I went to a Division II college, and something during that time changed for me. It went from enjoying the game to having to win. Then it evolved over the years to where I just started not even enjoying the game anymore. Hitting with the ball machine, hitting with a partner, things went fine. No issue. Get out on the court, and as soon as you walk out on the court, the mindset changes. I've got to win this match. I've got to hit these balls well. I can't be making all of these unforced errors. And as soon as that clicked in, we all know what happens. It's a downward spiral at that point. I didn't change my mindset on needing to do something from a mental aspect until probably about 2 years ago. So it's been a torturous number of years out on the court, going through all of this and getting frustrated when I lose.
More than likely, you can completely relate to a lot of what you just heard. I know that I can. I actually quit playing tennis myself for a period of time around 14 years ago when my own frustration on the court became too much to bear. Like the players that you just heard from, I also tried just about every one of the popular methods and resources on the subject of mental toughness for tennis.
I tried everything. I tried to stay calm. I tried to use mantras. Everything I tried, it was never a good fix, and I just knew I needed the right tools.
Found a few articles and stuff like that, but I didn't like it. It was like it was like finding a routine that would take you back into your tennis, but it was not mine. I mean, if you really are down, like what happened in a match, it's not enough. It's not inside you, so it didn't work.
I'm gonna show you something really quick. Hold on a second.
Yeah, sure.
This is my collection of about, like I say, like 150 DVDs, and I have here my mental training DVDs before I knew the mental training courses. It says here, becoming a champion, an athlete guide to build self-confidence, mastering pressure situations. All these DVDs that I have over here, which I have acquired during my professional life, they tell you about patterns and rituals and things like that. Part of my budget was for a psychologist, and or they call them psychologists in sports performance or something like that. And he would tell me, visualize a point and then get your, and then picture how you're playing and visualize. And he was such a nice guy, but it was so frustrating going there because it was more about me crying and frustrated about things not going well. And he would tell me, well, you have to visualize.
I explored my way through Winning Ugly, and that sort of was building upon my efforts to control everything. I would prepare my match plan a week in advance for a particular opponent. I would think exactly what I needed to do for that opponent. What were their weaknesses? How would I target them? How would I do this? How would I do that? So I had so much build up in my head about trying to control the match, trying to control the outcome. Then when I finally got to court, I was so nervous that I couldn't breathe, I couldn't think, I couldn't move, and I couldn't swing the racket. That's why I realized, I think I should listen to Ed.
Don't worry, these stories don't stop here. In the next few days, you're going to hear some incredible turnaround stories from the players that you just saw, and they're all due to the teachings of a gentleman named Ed Sang. He's the one responsible for the coaching program called Mental Tennis Mastery. And in our next video, you'll get to sit in on a group conversation he had with Kirby, Ira, and myself here at Essential Tennis headquarters. Within that conversation, you'll learn why the most common and popular approaches to mental toughness simply don't work, and why his approach is completely different. You'll also learn what the zone is and how to get back to it naturally without tricks or gimmicks. Keep an eye on your email inbox for a link right to that video, and also follow us on YouTube and Facebook because we'll be publishing these videos there as well. In the meantime, I have a quick question for you. What is your top mental demon that keeps you from the performance and enjoyment that you deserve on the court? I'd love to hear how Ed and I can help you the most. So let me know in the comments section down below, along with any comments or questions that you may have about mental toughness on the court. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video alongside Ed.